and hello, my little mathematicians. Today we're going to do the study guide for the quiz on 10.1 through 10.2. Why don't you guys go ahead and try number 1, pause the video, try it, and then unpause it when you're done. Okay, so now that you unpaused it and you tried it, let's go ahead and check to see if you got number 1 right. So first off, always follow Pemdas, right, or GEMDAS. P, E, M, and D, and then A and S. So the first thing to look for is any parentheses. Right here, I want to simplify this. 4 plus 12 is 16. And then bring down divided by 2 plus 3 squared. All right, so parentheses are simplified down to a singular number. Exponents, right here, I want to take care of that 3 squared. That's not 3 times 2, it's 3 times itself 2 times. And 3 times 3 is 9. Bring down the other stuff. Okay, parentheses are down to a single number. Exponents are gone. Multiplication or division, right here. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Bring down your plus 9, and that simplifies to 17 for number 1. All right. Why don't you guys go ahead and try numbers 2 through 7. And then when you think you have it, come back and check. All right. Now that you unpaused it and you're back with us for numbers 2 through 7, let's see how you did. It says M divided by 4. Okay, or you could have said M divided by 4. Now, if this were the actual quiz, please make sure you write it in the answer column as well. And you could write it one or the other. You don't need both. I'm just saying that both of those are correct. Okay, for number 3, it's saying the difference, so minus whatever comes first comes before the subtraction sign, 7, and whatever comes after the word and, a number, we don't know what it is. So you could say n or x or y, any variable to represent that. And this is the only order, 7 minus n. Because let's say this n was 1, 7 minus 1 is very different than 1 minus 7. So when you're subtracting or dividing, the order matters. 7 had to come first. M had to go on top or come first. Okay, number 4 says 2 times what? The sum, so a plus sign, a number, so any number, and 3. And then go ahead and close the parentheses. And that's the only way to write that one. Okay, the product, so I'm multiplying, a number and 5. So that's correct. I just prefer 5 times x. That's the best way. Okay, or if you wanted to put a dot between them, sure. Okay, or if you put it first, I don't like the variable first, but fine. Okay, times 5, that's correct as well. We just don't want to have x times 5, because this looks like x times 5. Right? So we don't want to use x's to represent multiplication anymore. But any of these we would accept. 2 less than, so that actually moves the 2 to the back. So what am I taking 2 away from? It's 2 less than that n. 9 is being added to what? Z. And whenever you write a Z, go ahead and put a line through it, because otherwise it might look like a 2. Okay, and same thing, another weird variable. Whenever you have a T, don't write it like that. That looks like a plus sign. Draw it with a tail. Okay, draw that as a T, or do a capital T. But when you do a Z, do a line through it, or I guarantee you halfway through your problem, it'll look like a 2. Okay, hopefully you got all of those right. Go ahead and turn the page and try as many of them as you think you can do, and then come back and check with us, okay? But try them first. And now that you unpaused it and you're back with us, let's see how you did. Okay, the first one, I'm just simplifying the expression with PEMDAS down to a singular number. So within this parentheses up here, I want to simplify this. So you have 3 minus 1 simplifies down to 2. And that was squared over 2 plus 3. Okay, now I still want to simplify this numerator, and it has an exponent. So 2 squared is 2 times itself 2 times. So 2 times 2 is 4 over 2 plus 3. And then this is saying 4 divided by 2. So that's 2 plus 3. And 3 plus 2 is 5. If you got that one right, good job. That was pretty tough. Okay, and here I have parentheses, and I know there's a lot of things going on with the parentheses. So if you want, like, cover it up with your fingers and just focus on the numbers inside of the parentheses. What's happening in there? That's saying 10 divided by 5. So what is that? 2. And then bring down all the surrounding stuff. Okay, now you're like, what's happening here? Do I do the multiplication first or do I do the exponent first? Well, remember PEMDAS, right? This is saying 2 times 2. This is saying 2 squared with an exponent. Do you do multiplication first or exponents first? You do exponents first. So I'm going to do this first, that 2 squared, which is 4, and bring down the 2 and plus 1. And then you have 2 times 4, which is 8 plus 1. And 8 plus 1 is 9. Now, I know for this particular problem, if you're like, oh, Miss Love, I did 2 times 2, which is 4, and then times 2, and I got 8. But I also tried it the other way and did 2 times 2, and then did that. Okay, it actually does make a difference if you do it that way. If you did 2 times 2, you'd get 4, and then 4 squared would be 16 at this step. So it actually does make a difference, because some of you are like, oh, it doesn't really matter. Yes, it does. Because if you did 2 times 2, you'd get 4, and then 4 squared, you'd get 16 plus 1, which is the wrong answer. Okay, so yes, it does matter. Please follow PEMDAS. Exponents come before multiplying. So take care of that exponent first before you multiply them. Okay, that was pretty tricky. Apply that same method when you're doing this. Go ahead and try it. All right, this is one singular term, so I'm just going to put it in brackets so I don't forget. And that's one singular term, and then you have minus 1. Okay, so I have 2 times whatever y is squared in there, and 3 times whatever y is. Well, I'm going to replace y with what y is equal to, and y is equal to 5. So I'm going to put a 5 in here and a 5 in there. Okay, now just like before, do you multiply first or do exponents first? When you're simplifying this, I do exponents first. So 5 squared is 25 inside of there. And then here you have 3 times 5, which is 15, and bring down that minus 1. Okay, this term still needs to be simplified to a singular number. So 2 times 25 is 50, plus that 15 minus 1. Okay, and then you have 50 plus 15. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but please write it off to the side, because you'd be amazed at how many people write 55, and they don't see that you're supposed to combine that right there and get 65. Okay, show your work off to the side. Please, please, please. It takes seconds, but it prevents you from making mistakes. And 65 minus 1 is 64. Final answer. Okay, that one was super tough. If you got that, great job. Okay, again, I like to draw the brackets around the whole number. That's kind of helpful. And so this is saying 3 times whatever r is squared, and this is saying 6 times whatever r is. And I'm going to replace r with what it's equal to. So substitute in a 2 for both of those r's. Okay, and just like before, you do exponents before multiplying. So 2 times 2 is 4. Bring the other stuff down. Okay, and then in here, you have 6 times 2, which is 12. So 3 times 4 is 12, and that's now a 12. So you have 12 plus 12, which is 24. Great job if you got that one. Okay, my next one, you have 2 plus, and again, feel free to pause the video, try it yourself first, and then unpause to check. Okay, this term is 3 times a squared, and then minus whatever b is. So b, I'm going to replace with a 4, and this a, I'm going to replace with a 2. So now I need to simplify this term, do the exponent before multiplying, 2 squared is 4 times 3 inside of there. And then bring down that minus 4, bring down that plus 2. Okay, so I need to simplify this term because remember, this is one singular term here, 3 times a squared. 3 times 4 is 12. And then you can keep it in brackets if you want, or now that it's down to a single number, finally, you can just bring down the other numbers. Okay, and then when deciding between adding and subtracting, you go from left to right. So 2 plus 12 is 14, and 14 minus 4 is 10. Final answer. Okay, last one. If you haven't paused the video at all to try them yourself first, please do it with this one. Okay, because this is the last one that's kind of tough like these ones. So this is one singular term. And this is one singular term of 4 times whatever m is. So p squared, p is a 2, and m is a 1. All right, so again, exponents before multiplication. So take care of this first. 2 squared is 4 times 3 divided by 4 times 1 is 4. That's one singular number. If you want to keep it inside of brackets, sure, why not? Can't hurt. 3 times 4 is 12. Now that's simplified down to a singular number, so you don't really need those brackets. And bring that divided by 4 down. And then you have 12 divided by 4, which is 3. All right, my final 2. Okay, this is one singular term, 12 times whatever a is. Then you have the divided by whatever b is, and then plus whatever that b is. So b is a 4 here and a 4 here, and 12 times a was a 2. So in this bracket, I need to simplify that term. 12 times 2 is 24, divided by 4 plus 4. And remember, according to Pemdas, you divide before you add or subtract. So 24 divided by 4 is 6. And then you have 6 plus 4, and 6 plus 4 is 10. Okay, final problem. You got this. Singular term minus a singular term plus 7. Okay, so I'm going to do 4 times c for that term and 2 times d for that term. And c, I'm going to substitute in a 3 for c when evaluating and 5 for that d. All right, let's go ahead and try to finish it. So this term simplifies to 4 times 3 is 12. This term simplifies to 2 times 5 is 10. And bring down that plus 7. 12 minus 10 is 2 plus 7. And then 2 plus 7 is 9. Final answer. If you are pausing the video and trying them yourself, or you just use this video to check yourself at the end and you got them all right, congratulations. These were really tough, simplifying and evaluating these expressions. Okay, if you got them all right, you got this. If not, go ahead and try some of the extra practice in the packet of similar looking problems.